We're going to make stuffed mushrooms with escargot. With all of these ingredients, and if you season it right, everybody will enjoy. I'm using Cremini mushrooms because they don't shrink up as much as the white ones. The snails, they're already cooked. They come in a can. Unless you're a fisherman and you buy fresh. I'm putting some Swiss cheese inside the mushroom first. Also with a basil leaf. And we're going to mince up garlic and shallots. Season up the snail a little bit with salt and pepper. Put it in flour. Saute it with the shallots and the garlic. And then when we put the Cabernet Sauvignon into that, it'll cling. Everything will cling to the snail because of the flour. And that's what we're looking for. Nothing left in the pan, everything onto the snail, and the snail goes in the mushroom, and we bake it fairly hot. We're going to use butter to saute, and that's it. It's an hors d'oeuvre. So this has to taste good. So don't be afraid of using a little salt, and the hot sauce goes well with this. It'll be a successful addition to whatever your meal is. Get this out of the way. I'm taking some extra virgin olive oil. See what I do? I put it in my old sriracha chili sauce container. This is the best non-drip one that I've had after buying so many. Just put a little bit in each one, and then you got to season everything, even the mushroom. So a little bit of salt and pepper in there, not much. Okay, now into that I am putting, and it's going to look cool too, the basil leaf. It's going to sit like that. And they'll think maybe it's a piece of spinach, but it's not. It's a piece of basil. And then into that, I don't want the cheese on top. I want the cheese inside, nice and soft, melted. So I'm using Swiss cheese. You can use actually whatever cheese you like. Doesn't really matter. Blue cheese, Camembert, cheddar, provolone, you name it. It's your recipe now. You could do whatever you want. Right now, this is my recipe. So that's the little bit of cheese that's going to go in there. And I'm using, since I'm lazy, I don't like to clean, I line everything with aluminum foil. Now we have to go about setting up the snails. The next thing we do is we take the escargot, season them up a little bit. My salt and pepper mix. Put them into the flour. Coat them well. And we'll get that butter a little bit warm. And we can, nothing wrong with having this butter. I'm not mixing it with olive oil this time because I don't mind that we get a little nutty flavor in there if it browns. That'll just add to the taste. Like when you make beurre noir, when you have a piece of sauteed fish, and you pour that brown butter all over that fish. Delish. Now I'm putting the shallots and the snails, everything in there in one shot. And that's a lot of shallots I put in there, because I love shallots. So if you don't like that many, cut the shallots in half on the recipe, but leave the garlic alone. And these escargot, the snails, don't mind cooking in there. Nothing's going to happen to them. And just a little more salt and pepper because we added the shallots, so we want to season them a little bit. Not much. And the hot sauce later, because we're going to put a drop of hot sauce in each of the mushrooms. Fairly high flame. I'm not using any herbs. I got my one herb in there, the basil. You can use whatever you want. You want to add thyme, you want to add oregano, you want to... It's up to you. All I'm doing is putting together stuffed mushrooms with escargot so they look good and they taste good. And there's probably 100 ways of doing this. So this is just one of them. And another second, I'm going to put the wine. Notice how everything's clinging, and after the liquid goes in there, it's going to cling even more and reduce. Just don't use a cheap wine when you're cooking. It'll reflect in the taste. And then the wine, and that's going to reduce down all the way and soak in to that. So now just keep on mixing this. I'm not going to waste the film. This has to reduce down to almost nothing. Notice how thick it is? I lowered the flame now. I want to dry this out even more. Nice clinging to the escargot. And you can taste the this mix. See if it needs any more seasoning. So if it tastes like it needs a pinch of salt, put a little more salt. Okay, now we're going to take these and place them get up here, thank you, and then we're going to put a drop of the filling, oh, look at that, I have an extra one. I guess that's for me to eat all by itself. Now just take a spoon take a spoon and just put a drop more on the very top, like so. I'm not using any chopped parsley or anything else because, and that is it. Now we're going to put this in the oven. The oven has been preheated at 450, which convection is like 420, 425, and it's ready right now. Well, I have to eat that one. Meanwhile, I'll set the timer for 10 minutes, but I'll check it in 6. I always forget and see how it looks. Doesn't take long. So I'm going to put a drop. Undo the top, that would help. A couple of drops on each one. You can either put it on top or you could put it inside before the snail. Well, let's see how they look. They've been in there for 7 minutes, so we're going to go to full 10. 10 minutes are up. I take it out, and then we'll put it on a plate, look at it, and I will not eat that until another 10 minutes because it's way too hot for me. Now, some people might say, well, look at the basil, how dark it looks. Well, you know what? I think it looks great. It's something acting like as another cup there. But there's nothing wrong with cutting up the basil and putting it inside. I like this effect. That's the only reason I did it like this. Well, that's it. So I'm going to put it on a plate. I think they look pretty good. They almost look like they have tomato sauce on them, which you could also do if you wanted to. Put a little tomato sauce on top of the cheese. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and I have to wait a few minutes before I eat mine.